So we're at the midpoint of the summer 2020 anime season, and though our selection this time around might be smaller because of possible third impact level threats, the seasonal anime still keep coming. So with that being said, what shows are truly worth watching this time around? Well, don't worry fellow weeb, as I have sacrificed so that you might know for yourself. I've taken it upon myself to watch every single anime from the summer season up until episode 6, so that I can tell you with confidence if you should watch it or drop it. I hope you'll join me as we dive deep into the 2020 summer season, but while we explore each show, don't forget to like the video and subscribe if you want to see similar videos in the future. Jesus Christ, this show is off the freaking chart. Right from the get-go, I was blown away by the amazing animation that this show had to offer. With this being another webtoon and Crunchyroll production, I thought for sure that we would be getting something similar in vibes and art as Tower God, but I was sorely mistaken in all the right ways. Studio Mappa did an amazing job animating everything from the characters to the background, the fighting sequences, hell, even the CGI looked good, which would be expected considering that this was the same studio behind Dorohedoro. As far as the story goes, it's one gigantic tournament arc where superpowered high schoolers pummel each other in hopes of becoming the god of high school and getting any one wish granted. While the story itself isn't the most original, couple it with a blazing fast pacing and we get something where the breaks are a myth, and if you paid for the whole speedometer, by god, you're getting the whole speedometer. Truthfully though, I just view that almost as a positive because the fast pacing lends this show an almost kill to kill type of insanity that just keeps getting more hype with each episode. This is completely my kind of anime. Amazing animation, heartfelt and interesting characters, great music, insane and intense throughout the whole runtime. I can't imagine this show not being in my top 5 anime of the year. How the hell can you say no to a show that's literally all tournament arcs? Oh! Not going to lie, after the first episode, I thought for sure that I was going to be hating the show, especially rom-com shows that immediately make me hate the protagonist. Rent a Girlfriend is about a horny college freshman that gets dumped by his girlfriend, and in order to fill the cracks in his heart, he tries renting a girlfriend. This doesn't fix his heart though, but due to pressure from his family and a twisting amount of lies towards them and his friends, he sucks himself into a sugar daddy relationship with his rental GF. But the further into this lovely dumpster fire you go, the more charm that starts to bring you in like a moth to the roaring incinerator. The characters range from total bros to absolute knuckleheads, and the way and how the main character's relationship gets more and more entangled is a wonder to behold. The prostitution element with extra steps, I can almost believe that this was a movie idea for a B-level romantic comedy. It can get pretty raunchy and cringeworthy at times, but damn, this train wreck wants you to see just how far the degenerate rabbit hole you can go. This is going to be the premier grade A trash show that I know you weeps crave. Reincarnated for the past to kick some mother flippin' ass, Anos Voldigode is the new student in Demon Academy, being able to fling castles with a single hand, beat you up with his heartbeat, kill you, reincarnate you, and then kill you again just so you can bend to his will, and the power to not be awkward around cute girls. Now, overpowered protagonist stories are a dime a dozen, but this one is able to separate itself by morphing into a sort of mystery show with Anos trying to piece together exactly what happened between the time he died as the Demon King and when he was reincarnated. It has an interesting spin compared to other shows in the genre and is able to pull it off very well. The animations are fabulous, the story is interesting, and it's so fun to see the ridiculous lengths Anos will go through just to grant the wishes of his friends and family. If you like shows like Overlord, then this is an easy recommend. Don't sleep on this. When I first went into this show, I thought I was going to get into some sort of prequel to Monster Musume, but apparently that is its own separate story and world. But that doesn't mean that you're not going to get your fair share of degeneracy with all kinds of human-monster hybrids. However, it's a whole lot less than you might think. This show revolves around a human doctor helping monster girls with their medical problems, mixed with illegal human trafficking busts. With each episode that passes, you'll have a little more revealed about the main doctor duo, which does keep your attention for the majority of the show, which is good considering that the amount of ecchi is tame compared to other shows in the same season. But the story kind of feels like events happen for the sake of it happening so far, so really it's only the characters that would keep you engaged. And also the animation is, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, it's awful, just awful. Watch if you want to get your fix of sexy monster girls, want to relax with some sort of ecchi slice of life, or you're really chomping at the bit for bondage action in anime. But in reality, this isn't really something that's too lewd or too story driven. It's kind of a lame duck in that sense. So if you feel the need to check it out, I won't tell you not to. But personally, it's not gonna be too high on my priority to finish compared to the others on this list. Let's firstly throw out those damn Twitter shitposts for this one. I don't understand this whole controversy with having a short-stacked college girl. I know people in real life with these kinds of proportions, and they are of age. Moreover, why this show of all the summer releases? This show started out innocently enough with Uzaki trying to hang out with the elite gamer Sakurai in order to break him out of his loner lifestyle. There are some moments where it might be time for them to settle it and smash, but mostly this is just a slice of life rom-com with nothing much beyond that. In fact, I think that if it wasn't for the smooth brains on Twitter, that this show would have ran its course as just another slice of life. But as far as how good the show is, if you're looking for something to turn off your brain for a bit and enjoy some dumb people doing dumb stuff while getting awkwardly closer with each episode, fucking go for it, boy. Uzaki-Chan is a show that will either get on your nerves or be that after-work glass of wine to help you unwind for the day. Is its story especially gripping? No. Are the characters interesting? A bit. Hell, you might be able to relate a lot with the main protagonist. Is the comedy good? Like half the time it hits. Does it scratch that smug anime girl itch? Oh yes. Oh god, yes. I give it a light watch it rating if you enjoy slice of life. Welcome to another entry into I can't believe it's not hentai category of degenerate shows airing this summer. What more can I say? World's strongest warrior tries to resist the temptation of multiple women that want to bear his child so that he may remain pure for his fiancée, and fails miserably. It's kind of gross when you think about the concept. A man becomes a serial cheater after becoming famous, not because he wants to be, but because he is constantly thrown into situations where he just can't refuse. Flip the genders around and this becomes a terrible tale that deserves to only be in a hentai. Seriously, this revolves around some pretty disgusting moral failings for both lackluster humor and ecchi scenarios, but in both cases, you'll have a better time watching interspecies reviewers or just your favorite shmentai. The animation is basically on par with the average hentai anyway, and the story is morally bankrupt, the comedy is non-existent, and whatever action you want to see from the show is locked behind some 6-digit numbers. This is the ecchi that borders on straight hentai this season, and its only saving grace was that it was 12 minutes per episode. Whack off to Wit and Leave, or just visit the hub and do that instead. Alright. This is a weird one. Deca Dence is like the unholy end result of an orgy between Darling the Frank's Attack on Titan Mad Max and Gurren Lagann. The first episode leads you on a bit, as when you get into it, you think this is gonna be like Attack on Titan with the last remnants of humanity fighting against monsters on their moving fortress. But then it hits you with this topic change in the next episode where it's revealed that Skynet has taken over and the cyborgs are responsible for the monster's existence so that they can be used in a hyper-realistic VR game with all of society ruled by one evil mega corporation. Its backstory, and really just the story in general, is wacky and out there, but in order to ground things, it tries to center around the struggles of the individual characters as they either come to terms with their existence or try to find their own path. Also, the animation is really weird because it constantly switches art styles between the cyborgs, the monsters, and the humans. They all range drastically in quality. Imagine PS2 graphics mixed with Tanya the Evil and painting and stalking. Some weird shit to look at is in this one. So far, things are looking really good for a potential Studio Trigger ending, but only time will tell if this is either one of the best shows of the season or one of the worst. A lot hinges on the ending, so I say watch it until it explodes in your face with either wonder or regret. The Great Pretender is about Japanese conman Makoto Edamura, who cons a tourist only to find out the Uno reverse card was played on him and the police are at his door. With little time to think, he books it, running into the same tourist conman who swindled the swindler. Following a series of unfortunate events, he finds himself in the middle of a huge heist against the mafia. This is something that has all the charm of Baby Driver, funneled down into one of the most intense heist shows I have seen. Couple that with easily the best music of the season, and what you get is another entry in the top 3 shows airing this season. For real, just the way that each episode is able to mindfuck you with how complicated and expansive each con is just adds so many delicious layers to the crime pie. When you watch The Great Pretender, what you get is a sort of a spiritual successor to Black Lagoon. There is craziness, badass, and lovable characters, and a great evening show to binge. If you're looking for something that's able to twist expectations with each episode, watch this show. Super Hxeros is about a group of horny teenagers fighting against space bugs that want to suck the fuck out of every person. Using the power of being horny, they fight back against the bugs so that all may give enough fucks to fuck. Yep, it's bad. Really bad. At first, I thought it would be so bad it's funny with some of the incredibly bad dialogue or absurd events that transpire, but that wears off the more you watch this ecchi. Everything is bad. From the story, to the characters, the animation, hell, even the goddamn underwear is censored. Why do I have to go to Pornhub just to have uncensored version that just includes the underwear? What the fuck? There is no good jerk-off material here, there is no gripping story here, just bland characters and stupid hentai concepts. Really, I plead for you not to waste your time on this hot garbage. That is an hour and a half of my life I'll never get back. Oh boy. Speaking about shows so bad it's good, where do I begin with this absolute magnificent piece of shit? This show is a great example of something so bad it's good. The premise is that there is a viral outbreak that turns humans into monsters, so the main character journey to try and find a cure. Interesting premise so far, especially in these times, but it gets better, so much better. Apparently, at the same time as the outbreak is happening, warriors from Edo period Japan are magically transported to the modern era and help out our group fight off these monsters. So imagine low budget Inuyasha, but you mix it with Resident Evil, the movie. And what you get is something that is so awful in almost every single regard. The most horrific CGI I have ever seen, with stock monster animations that look like it was ripped from some secret level of Final Fantasy. Add with it terrible video composition that seemingly degrades with each episode, absolutely horrendous sound effects, and incredibly awkward dialogue, and you get something that I think would have made a great video game concept for something made in the 90s. And maybe it was because the soundtrack bordered on low effort version of 80s classic anime, the terrible choppy fight scenes, not even animating people walking but instead switching the scenes, or how the characters just accepted these samurai are for the past, etc. But I thought for sure that this was a manga from the early 90s being terribly adapted. But when I looked into it, nope, it's an original anime in the year 2020. This was an experience that I don't know if I can recommend to those that want to be visually assaulted, but I just know that this is the worst show airing this season. My god, I tell you what though, anything you watch after this will seem like a cinematic masterpiece, so I guess if you want to have your eyeballs cleansed of all things good, then give this a shot, because if you don't laugh at how bad this is, you're gonna hate yourself for wasting your time. Now, it might be because this was the show I saw right after finishing Gibiate, but this is definitely a show that I never would have dived into but I'm glad I did. Mr.Love Queen's Choice at first seems like a chick flick, and being that it was based off a mobile visual novel where you can text, call, and chat with the male leads doesn't really help in that case. However, don't let that keep you away from this show. Queen's Choice is about a young producer for the show Miracle Finder that tries to both advance her show as well as find out about Black Swan, an organization that has something to do with her father's passing. It's actually a very interesting mystery show as the world is populated by evolvers, or people with superpowers. Now, there isn't a whole lot of action in the show, but instead the superpowers are used mostly as a way to expand the world building of the show and give each tense mystery an added layer of danger. There's a variety of interesting male leads that all seem to have some sort of history with the main protagonist, and each episode seemingly expands ever outward. If you're a fan of mysteries or reverse harems, then this might be something you want to keep an eye on. Now, as for all the sequels airing this summer season, okay, I'll admit there is only one which I have seen the previous season, and that is ReZero. Everything else seems good as a sequel to their associated franchise, so really if you liked Fire Force Season 1, you're probably going to enjoy Season 2. But with that being said, let me fawn over ReZero for a bit. I'm shook. I am physically shook. ReZero brings the heat again with another amazing installment that was well worth the wait. It continues right where we left off last time. I have to say that it's the same gripping thriller that it was and so much more. In just half a season, it throws you into an emotional roller coaster where the highs of the characters are tear-jerkers and the crash is a complete heart wreck. Honestly, if you haven't seen ReZero, it is definitely a must-watch show. Was Animemes right in immediately waifuing Echidna? Well, that doesn't come until past the halfway mark, I said, but I will tell you in earnest that this is the perfect blend of drama, thrills, intense horror, action, and mystery that hardens my nethers. Honestly, I don't know what I have to say in order to convince people that ReZero is an absolute must-watch show, but you better believe this is also being thrown into my top 5 anime of the year unless they somehow screw up the ending, which I doubt. With that being said though, I hope that this has been helpful in helping you determine if a show is worth taking the plunge or not. Overall, the summer season, even with the short selection that we've been given, really doesn't have a whole lot of must-watch shows from what I've seen so far. Maybe the fall season will bring us some more hearty bounty to sink our teeth into, but for now this is what we got. But with that being said, I'm Zeosphere, and I make regular anime content. Subscribe if you enjoyed, definitely like the video if you want to see more content like this, and until next time, stay cultured.